Right now, your mind is operating at half capacity, maybe less. You think you're awake, alert, conscious, but you're not. You're drifting through life in a fog of distraction, confusion, and mental laziness. And here's the brutal truth. While your mind wanders, someone else is thinking 3 steps ahead. While you scroll, someone else is strategizing. While you react emotionally, someone else is calculating coldly. They're not smarter than you. They're just sharper. And in this world, the sharp mind cuts through everything. The dull mind gets buried. Machiavelli didn't succeed because he was the most educated man in Florence. He succeeded because his mind was a blade. He saw patterns others missed. He predicted betrayals before they happened. He understood human nature so deeply that he could manipulate entire kingdoms without ever raising a sword. That wasn't luck. That was mental sharpness. And starting right now, I'm going to show you how to do the same. This isn't about reading more books or taking online courses. This is about rewiring the way you think, the way you observe, the way you process reality. By the end of this video, your mind will never operate the same way again. So pay attention, because most people will watch this and forget it in an hour. But you're about to become dangerously sharp. You've been trained your entire life to think slowly. School taught you to memorize, not analyze. Society taught you to follow, not question. Your parents taught you to be safe, not strategic. And now you walk through life reacting to everything, instead of controlling anything. That's not intelligence, that's programming. And the first step to sharpening your mind is recognizing how you were dulled in the first place. Most people operate on autopilot. They wake up, check their phone, consume whatever content the algorithm feeds them, react emotionally to headlines, and call that thinking. But that's not thinking. That's absorption. You're a sponge soaking up whatever the world throws at you. No filter, no strategy, no control. Machiavelli would call that mental slavery. He wrote that men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Translation: people see only what's in front of them. They accept surface reality. They don't dig. They don't question. They don't calculate. And that's why they're easy to control. The sharp mind doesn't accept anything at face value. It asks why. It asks who benefits. It asks what's hidden beneath the surface. When someone tells you something, your first instinct shouldn't be to believe them or argue with them. It should be to ask what they gain from you believing this. When you see a news story, your first thought shouldn't be outrage or agreement. It should be who wants me to feel this way and why. When someone offers you advice, friendship, or opportunity, your mind should instantly calculate what's in it for them. Not because you're paranoid, because you're sharp. This is the first mental shift. Stop consuming reality passively. Start dissecting it actively. Every conversation is a data point. Every interaction is a chess move. Every person you meet is playing a game, whether they admit it or not. And if you don't see the game, you're not the player. You're the piece being moved. Here's something Machiavelli understood that most people never will. Emotion is the enemy of clarity. When you feel angry, you stop thinking. When you feel hurt, you stop calculating. When you feel excited, you stop questioning. Emotion blinds you. And the moment you're blind, you lose. Look around. Who gets manipulated most easily? The ones who react emotionally. Who makes the worst decisions? The ones driven by feelings. Who gets used, discarded, betrayed? The ones who let their hearts override their heads. You've seen it 1,000 times. The man who gets angry in an argument and says something he regrets. The woman who falls for sweet words and ignores red flags. The employee who takes criticism personally and self-destructs. The friend who gets offended and burns bridges. All of them lost control because their emotions hijacked their mind. A sharp mind doesn't eliminate emotions. It controls them. It uses them as tools, not as masters. Machiavelli didn't hate emotion. He weaponized it. He knew when to show anger to intimidate, when to show kindness to disarm, when to show indifference to create fear. But he never let emotion control his decisions. Weak minds are controlled by how they feel. Sharp minds decide what to feel and when. So here's your second shift. When something triggers you, pause. Don't speak. Don't react. Don't move. Just observe the emotion like it's a stranger in your house. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Who benefits if I react right now? What will I lose if I let this control me? That pause is what separates the sharp from the dull. Because while everyone else is reacting emotionally, you're calculating strategically. And in that gap, you dominate. Most people think intelligence is about knowing a lot of facts. They think reading more books, memorizing more trivia, collecting more degrees makes them smart. But Machiavelli knew better. Intelligence isn't what you know, it's what you see. The truly sharp mind doesn't need to memorize everything. It needs to recognize patterns. And once you see the patterns, you see everything. Think about it. Every con artist uses the same pattern. They build trust, create urgency, isolate the victim, extract value, disappear. Every manipulator uses the same pattern. They love bomb, create dependency, withdraw affection, punish resistance, repeat. Every fake friend uses the same pattern. They're present when you're useful, absent when you're struggling, envious when you're winning. Once you recognize the pattern, you can't be fooled. You see it coming from a mile away. You know exactly what's happening before the trap even closes. This is how Machiavelli operated. He studied history obsessively, not because he loved old stories, because history repeats itself. The same betrayals, the same power grabs, the same alliances, the same collapses. Different names, same pattern. When he saw a prince make a move, he didn't just react. He compared it to 100 similar moves in history and predicted the outcome. That's mental sharpness. So how do you develop this? You stop consuming content passively and start analyzing everything. Watch how people behave in groups. Notice who speaks first, who waits, who mirrors, who dominates. Watch how people react to power. Notice who bows, who resists, who calculates. Watch how people handle conflict. Notice who explodes, who retreats, who manipulates. Every interaction you witness is a lesson. Every person you meet is a case study. The sharp mind is always learning, always observing, always filing away data. And over time, you build a library of patterns in your head. Now, when someone approaches you with a smile and an offer, you don't get excited. You scan your library. You've seen this pattern before. You know where it leads. You're 10 steps ahead before they finish their sentence. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you sharp. Here's a truth that will hurt most people. Your mind is only as sharp as the information you feed it. And right now, you're feeding it garbage. You spend hours scrolling through social media, watching clips designed to trigger dopamine, consuming content that makes you dumber with every swipe. You think you're relaxing. You think you're staying informed. But what you're actually doing is training your brain to be scattered, distracted, weak. Machiavelli didn't have social media. He didn't have Netflix. He didn't have 1,000 distractions screaming for his attention every second. He had books. He had observation. He had silence. And in that silence, his mind sharpened like a blade on stone. You want a sharp mind. You need to starve the noise and feed the signal. Cut the distractions. Stop consuming content that doesn't make you think. Stop watching videos that make you feel good but teach you nothing. Stop scrolling endlessly through opinions that don't matter. Start reading books that challenge you. Not fiction, not entertainment. Read history, read strategy, read psychology. Read the things that show you how power really works. Start observing people in real life. Put the phone down. Watch how humans behave when they don't know they're being watched. See the masks slip. See the motives reveal themselves. Start sitting in silence. No music, no podcast, no distraction, just you and your thoughts. Most people can't handle 5 minutes of silence because their mind is so weak it collapses without stimulation. But the sharp mind thrives in silence. That's where clarity lives. That's where strategy is born. Machiavelli wrote that a wise prince must think ahead and prepare during peace so he doesn't bleed during war. Your mind is the same. Sharpen it during calm so it doesn't break during chaos, because chaos is coming. It always does. And when it arrives, the dull mind panics. The sharp mind executes. Let's talk about something most people are terrified to admit. You've been lied to about how the world works. You were told that hard work always pays off, that good people win in the end. That honesty is the best policy. That kindness is strength. All lies. Not because those things are bad, but because the world doesn't reward them the way you were promised. He watched good men get destroyed. He watched honest leaders get betrayed. He watched kind princes get overthrown. And he realized something brutal. The world doesn't care about your morals. It cares about your effectiveness. The man who gets what he wants isn't always the nicest. He's the most strategic. The woman who rises to the top isn't always the kindest. She's the most calculated. The leader who survives isn't the most honest. He's the most adaptable. This doesn't mean you become cruel or evil. It means you stop being naive. It means you recognize that morality is a tool, not a cage. You can be good, but you must also be dangerous. You can be kind, but you must also be sharp. But you must know when silence serves you better. The truly sharp mind doesn't get trapped by rigid rules. It sees reality as it is and adapts. It uses morality when it strengthens. It discards it when it weakens. Machiavelli wrote that the ends justify the means. Not because he was evil, because he understood that survival doesn't reward the principled, it rewards the effective. So sharpen your mind by shedding the illusions. Stop expecting fairness. Stop waiting for karma. Stop believing that doing the right thing guarantees a good outcome. The sharp mind doesn't hope, it plans. It doesn't trust, it verifies, it doesn't assume. It calculates. And when the world shows you its true face, when the betrayals come, when the injustice strikes, you won't be shocked, you'll be ready. Because you saw it coming. And that's the difference between the sharp and the dull. Here's the part most people will never master. A sharp mind doesn't just think faster, it thinks differently. Most people think in straight lines. If this, then that. Cause and effect. Action and reaction. But life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in circles, spirals, webs. A sharp mind thinks in systems. It sees how everything connects, how one decision ripples into 10 consequences, how one person's action triggers a chain reaction, how power flows not through force but through influence. Machiavelli didn't just analyze individual actions. He analyzed entire systems. He saw how loyalty worked, how fear spread, how alliances formed and crumbled. He understood that you can't control one person without understanding the network they're part of. This is why sharp minds dominate. They see the whole board while everyone else sees one piece. They predict outcomes 3 moves ahead while everyone else reacts to the present. They understand leverage, timing, positioning. Let me give you an example. A dull mind sees an insult and reacts with anger. A sharp mind sees an insult and asks who else is watching. What does this person gain by disrespecting me publicly? How can I use their aggression against them? Who will lose respect for them if I stay calm? The sharp mind focuses on the system around it. Stop thinking in isolated moments. Start thinking in networks. Every person you interact with is connected to others. Every action you take sends signals beyond the immediate. Every word you speak echoes further than you realize. When you start thinking this way, you become unpredictable. You become untouchable. Because while others are playing checkers, you're playing three-dimensional chess, and they don't even know the game changed. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Why do most people stay mentally dull their entire lives? It's comfort. Sharp minds are uncomfortable. They question everything. They see darkness. Others ignore. They carry the weight of knowing things most people deny. It's easier to stay dull. Easier to believe the lies. Easier to follow the crowd. Easier to react emotionally than think strategically. But easy doesn't make you powerful. Easy makes you controllable. Machiavelli chose discomfort. He chose to see reality as it was, not as he wished it to be. He chose to think thoughts that others called evil. And because of that, his mind became sharper than everyone around him. You have the same choice right now. You can close this video, go back to comfort, keep your mind dull, and stay safe. Or you can embrace the discomfort, sharpen your blade, and become dangerous. Because here's the truth they'll never tell you. The sharpest minds in history were all called something by the masses, ruthless. And they were right, but those sharp minds also built empires, survived wars, outlasted enemies, and left legacies, while the dull minds faded into nothing. So ask yourself, do you want to be liked? Or do you want to be unstoppable? Do you want to be comfortable, or do you want to be sharp? You can't have both. The sharp mind sacrifices comfort for clarity. And once you make that sacrifice, there's no going back. You'll see through people instantly. You'll predict outcomes before they happen. You'll move through life like a ghost, untouchable, unreachable, unbreakable. That's not arrogance, that's precision. That's not cruelty, that's survival. That's not being cold. That's being awake. Let me show you what a truly sharp mind looks like in action. You walk into a room. Most people scan for threats or allies based on surface impressions. You scan for power dynamics. Who defers to whom? Who speaks and who waits? Who's trying to impress and who doesn't need to? In 30 seconds, you know the hierarchy without anyone saying a word. Someone insults you in front of others. Most people defend themselves immediately. You pause. You let the silence hang. You let them expose their insecurity. Then you respond with something so calm, so measured, so final that everyone in the room feels it. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't argue. You just made it clear that challenging you was a mistake. Someone offers you an opportunity. Most people get excited. You get suspicious. You ask yourself, why now? Why me? What's the catch? You investigate before you commit. And when you discover the hidden cost everyone else missed, you either renegotiate from power or walk away entirely. A crisis hits. Most people panic. You don't, because your sharp mind already ran 100 scenarios before this moment. You prepared during peace. You built leverage during calm. Now, during chaos, you execute while everyone else scrambles. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "Fortune favors the prepared mind." It's sharpness. You see further. You think deeper. You move smarter. And because of that, not sometimes, consistently, that's the life waiting for you on the other side of mental sharpness. A life where you're never blindsided, never manipulated, never caught off guard, because your mind became a weapon. And weapons don't lose to bare hands. But here's the final truth, the one most people can't accept. Sharpening your mind isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. Machiavelli didn't wake up sharp. He sharpened himself every single day through study, observation, and ruthless self-honesty. You have to do the same. Every morning you choose, will I drift today or will I dominate? Will I scroll mindlessly or observe strategically? Will I react emotionally or respond calculatedly? That choice determines whether your mind gets sharper or duller. And here's the cruel part. There's no neutral. You're either sharpening or dulling. Every distraction dulls you. Every emotional reaction dulls you. Every moment of mental laziness dulls you. But every book you analyze sharpens you. Every pattern you recognize sharpens you. Every emotion you control sharpens you. This is why most people never reach their potential. They think sharpness is a destination. It's not. It's a discipline. It's a war you fight every single day against comfort, distraction, and weakness. Machiavelli fought that war his entire life. And because he did, his name echoes through centuries. Your name won't echo unless you sharpen your blade. Unless you make the choice right now to stop being mentally lazy, to stop accepting surface reality, to stop reacting like everyone else. The sharp mind is rare. The sharp mind is feared. The sharp mind is unstoppable. And starting today, that's what you become. You've now been given the manual. Everything you need to make your mind 200% sharper is right here. But knowledge alone changes nothing. Only action does. You cut the distractions. You stop feeding your mind garbage. You start observing every interaction like it's a lesson. You pause before reacting. You question before believing. You calculate before moving. You sit in silence and let your mind sharpen in the stillness. You study history, psychology, strategy. Not to show off, to see patterns. You stop being nice when being strategic serves you better. You stop trusting blindly when verification protects you. You stop hoping for fairness and start creating leverage. And day by day, decision by decision, your mind transforms. You stop being the person things happen to. You become the person who makes things happen. You stop being reactive. You become proactive. You stop being predictable. You become dangerous. That's not a metaphor. That's your reality now. Machiavelli didn't write for the weak. He wrote for those willing to see the world as it truly is and dominate it anyway. You're one of them now. You've chosen sharpness over comfort, strategy over emotion, power over passivity. So go, execute, become the version of yourself that others fear to challenge. The version that sees everything, knows everything, controls everything, because your mind just became the sharpest weapon you'll ever carry, and nothing will ever be the same again. Like this video if you're ready to stop being dull. Subscribe if you're ready to become mentally untouchable. This is transformation. And you just became 200% sharper. Now go prove it.